Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today we are going to do something a little bit different. I am going to give you a sneak peek into 3 brand new product suites, which are coming out in the new Stampin' Up! Holiday catalog. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have 3 different product suites that I want to share with you, which feature just some fun Christmas card ideas. And I also want to share some information about my upcoming Christmas card making club. So the product suites I'm featuring today are also a great look into the product suites that I am using for my Christmas card making club. You can get all the details on the club by clicking on the link featured in the description below this video. Okay, so the first product suite that I want to focus on is called Beary Christmas. And this particular suite has a bundle of products, which is a stamp set and a punch. So the stamp set is called Beary Cute, and it has a variety of fun images in it for creating Christmas cards. Now this bundle, as I mentioned, comes with a coordinating punch. So you are able to punch out this polar bear shape with this particular bundle. Now this suite comes with a variety of fun products that you can use to decorate your cards. So I'm going to actually walk you through how to make this particular card, and it features a lot of the new products. So the bundle, you can see the little polar bear here, and then I have some of the Beary Christmas designer series paper, and then some of the adhesive backed glitter sequins. So let me show you how to make this card. So we're going to start with a piece of old olive cardstock for the base of our card. And my card bases for all the cards that I'm sharing today are basically the same. It's just a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock, and then I score it down the middle, down that 8.5 inch side at 4.25 inches to create the base of the card. Next, I cut a 1.5 by 5.5 inch piece of just one of the pattern papers. So we'll just go ahead and adhere this on the right side of the card front. The next thing I did is took a 1 by 5.5 inch piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to do some paper tearing. So I'm just going to slowly tear, and the slower that you tear, the more you'll get that fun look on the side of your cardstock. So this cardstock piece, we're just going to turn it, and we're going to have the torn part go over onto the designer paper. So we will adhere that. And that other torn piece we're going to save, and we're going to use that in just a minute. So the next thing I did is just cut a 3/4 by 4.75 inch piece of just a different pattern from that paper pack. And I'm just going to adhere this right next to the designer paper with the trees. And so now we can go ahead and create our focal point. So I'm just going to set this to the side for the moment. And I have a scrap piece of white cardstock here. And I'm going to be using some early espresso ink. And I'm going to use that polar bear, the one that I can punch out. And I'm going to stamp that on this scrap piece. And then we can go ahead and slide it into the punch and punch out the image. Okay, so now we have the polar bear punched out. So I'm just going to use a little bit of Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to use one of the scarf images from this particular set. And I'm just going to stamp the scarf right onto the polar bear. Now we are ready to create our focal point. So I use the Stylish Shapes dies to create this square shape, but if you don't have the die set, the shape measures approximately 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that piece of torn paper that we used for the side of the card, and I'm going to lay this across the bottom of this square, and I'm just going to trim it down to the size of the square. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, before I adhere this, I'm just going to lay it over the bottom, and I'm going to line up where I want my polar bear, and we're going to go right about there. And then we'll go ahead and we'll add this piece. So this just gives the illusion that this bear is standing in some snow. So I like the torn paper look with this particular set. So we can go ahead and adhere this to the card front. And then the next thing I did is I just did a little bit of heat embossing on a piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock. And so I'm just going to pop this up with a couple dimensionals right here underneath this shape. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just use some of these fun new sequins. So they're all glittered up. So I am just using these large white ones and just adding a little bit of bling up on the top there. All right, so that's the first card that I wanted to show you. So now I'll give you a little sneak peek of some of the cards that I created for my Christmas card making club. They're just so super cute. So you can get all the details by clicking on the link featured in the description below this video. All right, the second product suite that I want to showcase is called Oh Holy Night. And it's a beautiful collection of products. I think this is probably one of my favorites in the catalog. So let me tell you a little bit about this product suite. So the product suite features a couple of different bundles. So for my Christmas card making club, I'm going to be focusing on this bundle called Night Divine. But there is another bundle in this particular suite called Stars at Night. They're both very beautiful, so it was a difficult decision to make. But I decided to go with this one. It has a lot of wonderful sayings and greetings that you can use in your card making, whether you want to use them on the front of your card or the inside. And then it also has a variety of really cool dies that you can use in your card making. So I am going to be using this particular die to show you how to make this card. And this die cuts everything out all in one fell swoop here. So I just cut it all out in the different colors. I have Crumb Cake and Pebbled Path. So I cut one of the nativity scenes out in Pebbled Path and one in the other color. And then I just simply cut in between here to create the little pieces that I needed for my cards. So let me show you how I made this card. So you're going to start with a piece of Crumb Cake cardstock for the base of the card. And then I cut two other pieces. I have a piece of Pebbled Path cardstock, which is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And then I have a piece of the beautiful Oh Holy Night Designer Series paper. So this is just one of the many different beautiful patterns in this particular paper pack. So we're going to start by stamping the Glory to God in the Highest right on the top of this piece. So for this card, I'm going to be using Early Espresso ink to stamp the greeting right on the top. And then we'll use this image and just go kind of towards the top. I wanted to use the Early Espresso just so that it stood out a little bit more since we have Pebbled Path and Crumb Cake on our designer paper. All right, so now that we have this stamped, we can go ahead and adhere all these layers together. So I'm going to start by adding the designer paper to this Pebbled Path, and then the Pebbled Path to the card base. And then the rest is basically just decorating with the different die cut pieces. So I stuck with the Crumb Cake and Pebbled Path combination. And so I just cut off the little wise men here from that nativity scene. So I just trimmed this right down here at the bottom. And then I'm just going to pop this up right over on the left side of the card. And then the shepherd, I did the same thing. I just cut the shepherd off of that scene because the die cuts out just the whole entire scene. So if you want to use just one of the images, you do have to kind of cut in between there. So we'll adhere the shepherd, and then we will adhere the little sheep. Now this is a separate die in this particular bundle. So we'll just tuck that right in there. And then the last thing I did is just use some of these star trinkets. So they already have adhesive on them. And I'm just going to be using the larger one. So we'll peel that off. And I just wanted to put it right underneath that greeting, just like that. So it's a pretty quick and simple card, but it's really beautiful. All right, so let me give you a sneak peek of some of the cards that I created for the Christmas Card Making Club with this particular bundle. So as you can see, there's just so many possibilities with this particular suite. So you can get additional details again out on my website by clicking on the link featured in the description below this video. All right, and the last product suite that I want to feature is the Joy of Christmas product suite. So this particular suite, just like the Oh Holy Night suite, has two different bundles in it that are part of the suite. And then it just has a variety of different designer paper and embellishments and all sorts of fun things that you can use in your card making. So I just went for a fairly simple card design just to kind of showcase just how beautiful this suite is. So for this card, I used the Joy of Noel stamp set. And this particular stamp set also comes with a coordinating die set. And so one of the fun things about this die, there's a Noel die in there. So you can stamp the Noel image, which is over here. And then when you stamp it, you can cut it all out at once, and then you can use it individually like this on your card. So I will show you that, but it has some other images in it that are just beautiful for card making. Okay, so let's talk about how to create this card. So I started with a piece of pecan pie cardstock for the base of the card. And then I cut a 3 by 5.5 inch piece of white cardstock and I embossed it with a brand new embossing folder. So this embossing folder is called Distress Tile. And if you know me, you know that I love the look of distressing on my cards. The next thing I did is I cut a 3 1/4 by 3.5 inch piece of cherry cobbler cardstock. And so this piece is going to go right behind this 3 inch piece. So this is the 3 1/4 and this is the 3 1/2. And so I'm just turning it so that this is 3 1/2 inches wide. And so I'm just going to adhere this right behind this cardstock piece. So we'll just kind of line it up so we get a little bit of that red on each side of this white. And then we can go ahead and adhere this. And so this will just get adhered right down the center of this card front. Now in this particular suite, it has some designer paper. It has a couple different, 2 different packs of designer paper, but I'm going to be using the Joy of Christmas designer series paper and just a little, I'm just using a little strip. So I just cut in between the music notes here. So it's about 1 1/4 inches, maybe a little bit more. And then it's 3 inches long. So this is just going to get adhered down to the card front. But before I do that, I want to add my large focal point up here on the top. So I decided to save a little bit of time and I just stamped this and colored it in. But I used the light shade of the Stampin' Blends for Old Olive, Shaded Spruce, and Cherry Cobbler. So these are all the light shade. I stamped this actually using Early Espresso ink, but you can use Black Memento ink if you want. And so this is just going to go right about here. It's going to go on a little bit of an angle. And then what I did with my designer paper is just kind of adhered it so that it overlapped the bottom part of this stem just a little bit. And so then the other thing I did is I stamped the Noel. And then I just cut it out with that die that's in this particular set. And then I decided to just adhere it right across that designer paper. All right, and then the next thing I did is I just stamped the word joyous. This came right from that particular stamp set. And then I just cut around it using a scissors because I wanted to just kind of tuck it right in here on the side. So it says Joyous Noel. So I'm going to add a little dimensional right here by this leaf. And then I have a couple dimensionals here on the back. And then we'll just pop this up right off to the side. And then the last thing you can do is just wrap a bit of linen thread around the side of the card and then just tie the top into a bow. Or you can leave it just like this. Either way is beautiful. I did add a couple of festive pearls to this. So it's a very simple yet beautiful card to create. So let me give you a sneak peek of some of the cards I created for my Christmas card making club. And again, I love this product suite. I love all 3 product suites, but this one has your traditional Christmas colors in it. Plus it also features some browns and grays, which makes for the perfect rustic style Christmas cards. Okay, so there you go. Now you have 3 different card ideas featuring brand new products, which are coming out in the new mini catalog. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.